Hey, Bronco Nation. Welcome to another edition of Bronco Nation Live. I am your host, Nick Wade. We are in downtown Boise in an undescript location here in the Blue Vision studio. As always, I'm joined by my co host, Sam Gillette. What's going on with you and Sam Talk Sports?
Well, it's been a long week. Work's been fun. Putting all this stuff together has been fun. We have a new segment tonight. I'm really excited to introduce that. A lot of information coming out tonight in a really short period of time, and I'm ready to get to it.
Yep. And after a bye week, I think everybody is jonesing for
Yep.
some Boise State football action here. So, all right. Well, let's get into this.
Yep.
Current the current status of Boise State sports right now. Soccer. The women are just getting going. Up in Moscow, Idaho, they're taking on the Vandals. They're looking to get another win in the win column. They are currently 2-3-3. They've had a couple losses and a draw the last game, so they really want to start building some momentum because conference play is coming up. So they're doing that. And on the flip side, with women's volleyball, they've been crushing it. They just had the Boise State Invitational. They went undefeated in that.
Nice.
They darn near swept all three games, but in the last one, I think they gave up one set. So
Unacceptable.
they're doing well. You can't sweep them all, right? So
Right.
so they are on a roll. They are in South Dakota this weekend. I believe they have a 2-game matchup with the Jackrabbits, and that starts tomorrow. And then they'll cap that road trip off on Saturday. So looking to extend that 3-game win streak for the women in volleyball.
You know who else is on a roll, Nick?
Who else is on the roll, Sam?
You know, there's a club sport out there that's a pretty dominant team, the rugby club. They just beat the dog pee out of Idaho State 80-0. I lied, 80-10. But I was hoping it'd be nothing. But they absolutely curb stomped them. They got another game Saturday at 1:00. Boise State's at Air Force, so go on out to Lincoln Turf Field and watch the rugby club. They play Montana State at 1:00 Mountain Time. So you have plenty of time to go out, support the rugby club, and then make it to your next hotspot, wherever it is you watch your football games, your away football games. You got plenty of time to get there. This is the second to last time you get to see the rugby club. They're back in action at home October 18th, and that is the last home game of the season for them, of the fall season for them. All the rest of their games are away. So you only got 2 more times to get out there and see their dominating play as they embark on their way to championship. The men's tennis team, we had some people in the group wanting to know about tennis. So maybe they'll watch this and actually come to the live show. But the men's tennis, they're 21-6, undefeated in Mountain West play, are currently on a 2-game losing streak. But they're in first place in Mountain West with New Mexico at 4-2 in Mountain West, 16-7 overall, and Utah State 50-9 overall, 4-2 in the Mountain West. Women's tennis, the ladies, they're 20-6, 7-3 in the Mountain West, currently third place. San Diego State 17-7, 9-1 in first place. Nevada 17-4, 8-2 in second place. And Air Force isn't on there. So they're not on my leaderboard. So Boise State has that on them if nothing else. But yeah, so we got some really good teams coming up, or teams that are playing this fall. So Boise State's on their road games. Go out to these other venues and support Bronco sports, not just the football and basketball teams, because there's so much more sports out there, Boise State related. than the main ones. So
yeah, we've got some great club teams out there. It's just a matter of time before these club teams become legitimate
yep.
Bronco athletic sports.
Yep.
Yeah, and rugby is a good one. We got good lacrosse teams. They just don't get a lot of shine from the Big Five.
Yeah. So as we switch into football.
Hey, if you're looking for more followers, clients, or customers, check out ServingBroncoNation.com and get your business added to the directory. When you purchase a tax-deductible plan, you are investing in Boise State and getting access to millions of views throughout the year on the directory and the Bronco Nation network.
So we have a new segment for you, Bronco Nation, called Football and Chill. We're going to we're going to try to every week bring on a blogger or some kind of super fan to talk about the other side, the other team. This week we have Alex Insco from History of Air Force Football on Facebook. Alex, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
So, Alex, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and about your Facebook group?
So a little bit about myself. I've been going to Air Force games for as long as I can remember, since I was a baby. My father was a 74 Academy grad. My brother was an 01 grad. And there's 15 years in between him and I in terms of my brother. So that's how I grew up. I grew up going and seeing my brother at Air Force games, and it's become a part of the family. Now having a family of my own, we have season tickets. We wouldn't have it any other way. I like to celebrate Air Force history by each week covering the series history of each game. I know when I was a kid, that was probably my favorite part of the sports page when I was growing up. Back when everybody would get newspapers, there would always be Denver Broncos versus San Diego Chargers, in the all-time series or whoever. I just kind of took that on as a kid. And now that I'm, a little bit grown, I want to bring that back. And, that type of stuff is fun to me, looking at the series history, remembering some of those games that really stood out in your mind. And it's fun to, have that type of sports history type mind and, celebrate the history, but also be excited about each future game.
Yeah. Yep. So it's safe to say that was the inspiration behind your Facebook page, History of Air Force Football, then, yeah?
Absolutely. And it's fun to look into each series. Most people would think Air Force, most common opponent is, Army and Navy. No, it's not. It's CSU and Wyoming. We've played CSU and Wyoming more than Army and Navy, which with CSU going and leaving the Mountain West, obviously Wyoming will become that new number one.
Yeah. And I found you towards the end of last week, and I read your Utah State, and I read your Boise State one for this week. Why don't you go ahead and bring us through the history of this series with Air Force and Boise State?
Absolutely. Well, obviously Bronco fans will, and I can't stand this week because obviously I'm a Denver Bronco fan. And this week really kills me because it's like having to root against one of your favorite teams, but I'm sure everybody out there understands. But history of the series, Boise fans will like this. They do lead the series 8-4 games. Obviously Air Force had that 3-game streak from 2014 to 2016. I think that shocked everybody, including Air Force fans. I mean, on paper, Boise's always supposed to win. I'm sure you guys probably have some comments on that before I go into the next thing.
Yeah, it was a dark time in Boise State football history. Them 3 years, we don't like to speak about those.
Well, and I know even New Mexico won on the blue in 2015 as well. So not to bring up old memories, but it's kind of fun when you're the underdog and you can talk about those moments.
Yeah, it's not as bad as missing a field goal and ruining national title hopes, though.
Okay, that's fair. That's 100% fair. So obviously, there's a couple games that I did want to cover, and most Boise fans won't be surprised. Obviously, the defense in 2014 created 6 turnovers. Weston Steelhammer helped lead the way with 3 interceptions that helped lead to a 28-14 Air Force victory. First time at Falcon Stadium. I know that was our first win. That was game number 3 against Boise. So 3rd time's a charm there. 2015 up on the blue, Carson Roberts, 274 yards passing. At one point, the game was 34-13, and I know Boise made a comeback. And I remember sitting there watching that game. I was like, this game's not over yet. And obviously, Boise made it one heck of a game, but something that you don't ever forget when you get to win on the blue. 2016, Brody Hicks with 6 tackles on defense and a giant punt block that turned into an Air Force touchdown early in the second quarter. That definitely helped change the game. 2021, in my opinion, was a defensive struggle. I think both teams played amazing football. And you got to give credit to Boise because they hung in there. And, you just didn't know which way that game was going to go.
Yeah.
And, getting that second win on the blue was impressive. In my notes here, I did give some credit to Kellen Moore. The first ever game between Air Force and Boise, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns. You gotta give him some credit there. I know It was a 1-score game in the 4th quarter, and Boise was ranked number 4 at that point.
Yeah, we don't talk about that year.
Absolutely. But just some highlights from that series. I know you guys probably have some woes, and I don't know. Let me ask you guys, when you play Air Force, is it a little bit of an uneasy feeling just not knowing what's going to happen?
Yes, especially whenever you're not sure if the secondary knows who they're picking up or the linebackers. If that triple option always gets to you. If you don't play disciplined ball and hit your mark every down, you have a potential to get gashed every time. But Nick can tell you a little bit more about that. I'm sure he's seen more of that happen in person than he cares to remember.
Yeah, no. The pulse of Bronco Nation is we're always uneasy about Air Force, especially the Air Force has delivered us a blow that took us out of the a New Year's bowl, one of those big time bowls with one of those losses, and those 3 years that we lost back to back. The sky was falling. The coach needed to be fired. You name it. That was going on. Steamhammer is a name that lives on in infamy with Bronco Nation. That's always brought up in comments. I see that all the time whenever the Air Force game comes back around. Just a recent memory, the last time we didn't play in 2024, but we did play in 2023, and I remember that game specifically because that was another heart attack game for Boise State. It was too close to call, and in fact, we just barely kind of held on to that to win 27-19. If I remember correctly, that was the game where it was either Luttrell or Noah, but it was the number 7. We had 2 number 7. Yeah, we had 2 number 7s on special teams play, and that really shot us in the foot and made that game even closer and more like a heart attack game than ever. And I remember I was with one of our friends. He came into town, alumni from San Diego. Tim and I were at a pub watching, and we were just on the edge of our seats, and just biting our fingernails to the very end of that game. Even though it was 27-19, it was a lot closer than that, and that's how all these games feel like. As a Bronco fan, these games against Air Force, you know, our teams really need to be disciplined and stay on assignment. So, you know, as fans, we're trying to stay on assignment for the team when we're watching. Like, and you just never know, you know, with that triple option, it's so difficult for the Broncos to really stay ahead of it. That's why I think that, you know, this rivalry has been just such a heart attack for Bronco Nation. And you know, I just wrote an article on this. You know, this, you know, being probably the final game of the series, especially
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, especially
Absolutely.
at the academy. But still, people are, you know, they commented on the link that I shared to the article in Bronco Nation Updates. You know, the pulse is still there. They're uneasy, and they don't know how this is going to go. So,
yeah. and I've been saying all week too that every team that's staying in the Mountain West is going to be giving Boise State their best. They're going to want to take that parting shot, not just for Boise State, but all the other teams that are leaving as well. They're not going to want them to leave with that win being held over their head. So they Air Force and the others, the UNLV, they're all going to want to go undefeated against the Boise States and the Colorado States and all that before they jump over to the Pac-12. But it's not very often.
That's a good point. In my notes, I actually had something written down here, and you know, growing up, obviously going to every home Air Force game, I still remember the last time we played BYU was at Falcon Stadium, and in 2010. And I know all the Air Force fans were just hungry to give them that last little beat down before they left, and Air Force would end up winning 35-14. And you know, it's just something you don't forget. Like, hey, you left our conference, but hey, we still won the last game.
I remember that game. I remember rooting hard for Air Force too, mainly because I don't like BYU, but I digress.
I think that's something we all could agree on.
So looking forward to Saturday. It's not very often that very often you can say that there's dual threat quarterbacks out there, but there's not very often you can say there's a dual threat wide receiver. And that's true with Harris for Air Force. He's a wide receiver, leads the team in both receiving yards and rushing yards, which is unheard of. You might as well give him the Heisman now. I mean, if you're going to give Travis Hunter the Heisman for playing two positions, you might as well give it to Harris, right? So watching Harris the first two games of the season, does that give you hope coming for Boise State, or are you still kind of reserved? You're not really sure which way this is going to play out?
Well, you know, obviously as a fan, you always hope for the best. Being realistic, feed Cade Harris the rock, block for him, get people out of the way, throw that deep ball whenever everybody's not expecting it. If you can feed Cade Harris the rock, good things are going to happen. The big question mark in my mind in this one, because you know Cade Harris is going to do his job regardless. Big question mark is it Josh Johnson, junior Josh Johnson, or sophomore Liam Sarka? That's who the big question mark is. Obviously, last week at Utah State, you saw some good things from Air Force in terms of, you know, some good drives from Zarka, and then you also saw some good drives from Johnson, but you also saw some bad things. Johnson fumbling the football a couple times. You know, Zarka having the interception, which you could say that because he's a sophomore, he's still learning. I don't like to make those types of excuses. But at the same time, that's the big question mark. Is it's not going to be Cade Harris. Cade Harris is going to be ready to go. It's can the offensive line, the Bolt Diesel offensive line, block for Harris and make it easy for Liam Zarka or Josh Johnson.
And that's another thing that I've always, and I'm glad I have an Academy fan here to chime in on it. Your academy schools, they're always disciplined. You have the rank and file kind of people. I mean, you go through basic training and all that, take no crap off of anybody. Why are there so many mental errors and missed assignments on the football field? Why does the training not translate into football success?
That's a great question. I would love to ask Troy Calhoun that sometime. Sometimes Troy Calhoun can drive me up a wall, to be completely honest with you. And, you know, and this is just an example. I obviously watching every Air Force game. It seems like they can get a second quarter lead, third quarter lead, and then they just sit on it. And it's just like, no, keep your foot on the gas, keep going, keep going. Instead of just sitting on it, you got to be aggressive and put some team away. I mean, we haven't scored 50 plus points in a football game since October of 2019. It's been a little while at this point.
Yeah. Defensively, you have Isaac Hubert, sack leader for the team, 3 sacks. How well do you think he's going to fare against Boise State's front line?
It's going to be a toss-up. If he can get back there, you know that he's going to be given his full effort. Like you said, teams that typically leave the Mountain West, you always want to give them your best shot before they leave. I remember, like, another example, Utah, when they left, they were ranked number 8, and it was a barn burner till the end. In terms of getting back in the backfield, it just depends on how well that Boise State line's blocking, because he's going to give his best effort to get back there and disrupt the passing, which kind of leads me to my next point. That defensive secondary is iffy with Air Force this year. Obviously, if you watched any of that Utah State game, you saw their quarterback have an at-will day, which is concerning. But at the same time, if you can get that pass rush up there and get some incomplete passes or even a turnover or two, that's going to make a huge difference. Yeah.
Which brings me into my next point, Nick. Because of that secondary, of course, Boise State's famously known over the last few years as not being able to have a secondary, which a good secondary, I should say. They have a couple pieces here and there. But, Nick, do you see Latrell Caples, who's been relatively quiet this year, and Louder, who's also been relatively quiet? How well do you think these 2 receivers are going to fare against a secondary that's a little bit has more a secondary that looks more like Boise State's secondary, a little bit of holes here and there? Do you see them being able to finally have their breakout game, or is Ben Ford and Chris Marshall gonna continue their dominance in the secondary?
Oh man, that's a good question, but I do think that the receiving game is going to be. I think it's going to be successful in this game. That's one of Air Force's weaknesses, I think. But it's contingent on how we do in the running game. The running game for Boise State needs to be dominant to open up play action in any game. As you saw last week versus Eastern Washington, you get that running game going, that opens up things, and then you have Chris Marshall and Ben Ford really showcasing. But I think it all depends on what Coach Parter wants to pull out of his pocket. Maybe he does get Trell involved in the slot, maybe do some play action pass, roll out Mad Dog, and then hit the Madsen to Louder that's automatic. Maybe I could probably see a big play coming into mix, especially if they get that running game going, so that can set up a RPO.
Right. And another question for you, Alex, with the run game that you have, does that set your defense up to be able to better handle a more straightforward run game where you have a defense that sees the run quite often in practice?
In my opinion, yes. Obviously, having to prepare for Army and Navy every year, you're going to have to prepare for those games with the triple option. Seeing a straight up run game, though, I mean, you take a look at what Air Force did with Utah State. Sure, it was a loss, but they really made Utah State one-dimensional and have to pass, because I think Utah State, off the top of my head, only had like 60 yards. I don't know. I can look that up if that's inaccurate. But, Air Force really kept Utah State one-dimensional, and if they could do that to Boise and, like I said, create a couple of turnovers, it could be a barn burner on Saturday that most people aren't expecting.
Yeah. Sorry, you said a number. I had to look it up to make sure. So Utah State had 473 yards total offense, 287 in the air, 186 on the ground.
Okay, sorry. I must be off with the stat. My bad. Thanks
No worries.
for looking that up.
You said that, I'm like, holy crap, was it that good? Because I remember watching it.
Maybe it was the first game that I'm confusing that with. So sorry for that.
No worries. So so how relieved are you that Ashton Jeanty went to the NFL and you don't have to see him this week?
I'm relieved in one way. I'm not really relieved that I have to see him with my Broncos. So hopefully our the Denver Broncos defense can mess him up. I'll say that. Yeah. But in terms of not playing you guys last year, it was probably a good year not to play you guys, especially with the down year that Air Force had. But at the same time, I'm very relieved not to see Gentry on Falcon Field on Saturday.
Yeah. So even though Genty's gone, you still have the likes of Sire Gaines and Dylan Riley. Both have the potential to bust one big and long and just really make your day not so fun. Do you think that your defense is up for it, or do you think that it's going to be a long night?
I hope so. I hope they're up for it. Obviously, we didn't see the greatest defensive showing from Utah State. I mean, they make a couple of stops. Maybe we don't turn the ball over as many times as we did. It could have been a closer game. I don't necessarily see that it would have been 49-30. But at the same time, I mean, the offense is producing, so that's good. Defensively, it's kind of a question mark. We played Bucknell. I mean, how much do you get from playing an FCS team, which I know Boise did do, but just being realistic there. And, Utah State, sure, they're a good opponent on a usual basis, especially when they play in Logan. When they're playing outside of Logan, they're a different team. But when they play in Logan, they always seem to be pretty good against Air Force.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game. It's one that I stayed up to watch, and I enjoyed it. I was rooting for Air Force just because I like rooting for the service academies when they're not playing Boise State. So
absolutely. And that's the fun thing about our little rivalry. I know your fans are really good to ours, and it's and I've become really good friends with Jacob Blamar, which some of your viewers might know. I know he's big in Bronco Nation, and it's a good relationship. I'm not going to be too sorry to see you guys go, just in terms of from a competition standpoint, but at the same time, it's been a fun I guess on Saturday 13 games that we've got to see you guys for during Mountain West play.
Yeah. Well, what is your score prediction for Saturday?
Okay. So I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you a realistic one, and then I'm going to give you one if Air Force plays a perfect game. How about that? Is that fair?
All right. That's fair.
Okay. So realistically, I do think that Boise will win this game 31-21. And that's just because I still believe that Air Force has a young team that's still growing and getting better at the same time. If Air Force plays an A game, and I'm talking about no turnovers, wrenches in the game plan to where, that you're not running fullback dive every other play, and the defensive secondary slowing down the passing attack, even just immensely, just creating one or two turnovers or something like that. Those are my three keys to an Air Force win. Air Force could sneak away with this one and surprise some people, and I'm going to throw out a 24-21 final score.
Ooh. All right.
And that's if they
Well,
play a perfect game.
we'll see how it happens. We'll see if you get a realistic score or a perfect score.
Absolutely. So we'll see. But you know, I hope for the best. Obviously, sometimes you got to be realistic, but you always hope for the best. And you know, going to the game,
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. So start of the season, I did a breakdown of how I thought Air Force was going to play, and so far I'm 100% on Air Force 1-1 at this point in the season, and I do have them getting bowl eligible this year with wins over Hawaii, Wyoming, Yukon, and New Mexico. Granted, New Mexico just took down UCLA, but it could still happen. But by the time you get to New Mexico, it could be a good game, and you really could take down Colorado State by that time as well. Where do you see the season going for Air Force after tonight or after this week?
So in terms of after this week, obviously you have Hawaii. I could totally see Air Force winning that one. I think they're 6-2 at home all time against Hawaii. Navy is a very good team this year. I'm not going to say that Navy beats Air Force because that's just sacrilegious. Likely, but I'm just being, trying to be realistic. UNLV is going to be a tough game on the road. UNLV's turned into quite the Mountain West powerhouse in terms of football wise. I know they used to be a team where you could just roll over them. Oh, it's UNLV, we're going to win. Yeah. That's not the case anymore. So good for the Rebels. Wyoming, we take down Wyoming at home. You can't lose that one. Army, again, sacrilegious for me to say that Army's going to beat us. So I'm just not going to comment there. San Jose State, very winnable game. Yukon, again, winnable game. New Mexico, you're 100% correct. Likely by then some of their momentum could be down. So we'll see. And then Colorado State, I have one thing to say. We own that stadium. It's Falcon Stadium North. We've never lost in that stadium since they've built it, which is something I like to pride myself on. I know Boise has a pretty good record against CSU as well. And I'm sure the Falcons would love to spank CSU one last time and keep that Falcon Ram trophy where it belongs, because you don't know when Air Force is going to play CSU again, which is kind of disappointing. From a fan standpoint, I love that rivalry. I remember going to school wearing my Air Force stuff as like just a grade school kid, and all the kids were like, oh, CSU is gonna win. And I remember one game where they were winning 21-3 at halftime, and Air Force came back and won 24-21. I think that was in 2006 off the top of my head. So it's always fun playing CSU, and the fact we own their stadium, we're gonna win that game, believe me. It's going to be huge. So I totally could see the Falcons becoming bowl eligible, probably somewhere in the 6-6, 7-5, if very best 8-4 range, being a completely realistic fan. We'll see. Obviously very early in the season, and I know the Falcons are going to give their best effort on Saturday. So hopefully for the best. And then there's also one other thing I want to cover, if I may. For Boise fans who might be attending the game at Falcon Stadium on Saturday, I know, some of our traditions, pregame march on, usually get into your seats about 20 minutes before kickoff. That's fun. The Wings of Blue are right after our parachute team. The flyover, I know there's supposed to be 3 A-10s, if I remember correctly, from seeing that on Twitter today. You have the bird that flies at halftime, and then the alma mater at the end. I know that tries to be something that we even encourage, other teams' fans to stand with us, because it's remembering those who passed away serving our country in the United States Air Force. So if you are attending the game, definitely join us and stay till the end and plan to listen to that song. I'm sure, win or lose, it's always nice when the opponents join us for it.
Yeah. Good deal. Well, Nick, I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you see Boise State's season finishing up? Obviously, we're 1-1 now. We expected to be 2-0 at this point going into Air Force. We've got Air Force away, then we got App State at home, and then we travel to Notre Dame. So it's kind of not an ideal schedule to go undefeated from here on out. Realistically, how well do you think the Broncos are going to do this year?
I think at the beginning of the season, we looked over, that card that you just had up, and I think I was in agreement with that. However, that one lone loss, I was thinking was going to be, in South Bend, but they obviously USF came to play on the season opener. But with that said, I have a feeling, with the way that the cards are kind of being dealt in the entirety of the CFB, I would not be shocked if, and especially since I'm going to the Notre Dame game, I would not be shocked if we went in there and we did pull the upset. So I'm going to adhere to that 11-1. There, I think that first game kind of shocked the fellas into, all right, let's take care of business, and let's humble ourselves down, and I think some personnel changes really added to the mix, getting Jaden Mickey in there at nickel. I think that was a great move, and that it also not only was a great move because of the skill, but also it was a statement to the rest of the team that if you want some playing time, you're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have to put in the work and humble yourselves and play as a team. Yeah. I'm going to go with what we had on the card. Didn't have the one loss to USF on the bingo card, but I'll hold with the 11-1.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm
Air
home.
Force.
There you go.
All right. Well, Alex, thank you for coming on today and really giving us that history of the Boise State and Air Force game. To your point with the Air Force and Colorado State, maybe that'll become rivalry week at the end of the year. Maybe that rivalry can live on there, and you can continue to own the stadium up north.
Absolutely, that would be great. Did you boys have a score prediction for Saturday?
I did. 123-7. Just kidding. No, I actually 38-21, or excuse me, 38-24 was my prediction for Boise State. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, in mine, I think they're going to get the running game going, and I think they're going to put Air Force back on their heels, and I think Air Force is going to end up probably trying to throw 20 to 24 times, and if that's the case, a good chance that Boise State is dominant. So I'm going to go 48-20.
And I do have another question. Nick brought up Air Force throwing the ball. Do you think, given Boise State's recent downfalls in the secondary, as made evident in the USF game, do you think Air Force is going to throw the ball more? Are they going to stick to their game plan and run?
Well, last week kind of surprised me because, offensive coordinator Thiessen is very set in his ways in terms of fullback dive, pitch, fullback dive, pitch. Last week, he really surprised me in the second half with how he opened up. And I remember texting a couple of my Air Force buddies. I was like, where the heck has this offense been hiding for years? So, I could totally see maybe us trying to pull out the passing game, kind of like we did in 2015 when we got 274 passing yards in that game. Because, obviously when you play Boise, you got nothing to lose. So, Air Force could try to pull out all the tricks on Saturday, which honestly would not surprise me.
All right. You have any parting words before we let you go and get on with your evening?
The only parting words I have to say is thank you guys for having me. It was fun to come on and talk some football. Hopefully we see Boise on our schedule in the future at some point. I'm not holding my breath by any means. I'm being realistic. I don't foresee that rivalry continuing. I have enjoyed the 13 games that we got to play against you guys in the Mountain West. And the only other thing I will have to say here is go Air Force, sink Navy, beat Army.
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Alex.
you guys. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
night. Go
You too.
Falcons.
Elevate your hydration. Unlike ordinary water, boosted oxygen water features unique oxygen composition, providing a higher oxygen content for superior hydration. Experience the next level of hydration with boosted oxygen water, meticulously crafted to invigorate your body with enhanced oxygen content. Ideal for fitness enthusiasts and wellness seekers. This water offers a revitalizing boost that goes beyond ordinary hydration, helping you stay refreshed and energized throughout your active lifestyle. So, if you love the Big Blue, make sure to pick up the blue bottle in your local and online Walmart stores.
Gotta love the blue bottle. Blue bottle for
Yep.
the blue field.
Hey, I wanted to get Instagram in the mix. They've been really they've been contributing on that app. We have a few questions here. We had one earlier from the Breezy Glazer. His question was, is this coach SD's first game as head coach against Air Force, or has he coached more? And I believe this is his first one as a head coach, correct?
It is, because he did not play, or let's see, we didn't play Air Force last year, so yeah, his first year as head coach.
Okay, and then here's a comment from JJ Sataki. Their comment was, first game was the kick and arse we needed. Only other loss will be Notre Dame. So he's probably going, or they're probably going 10-2. And then we have good old Alex Lambert in IG, and she gave a prediction of 5-17 Boise State. I like that. And then JJ Sataki again in Instagram did their prediction 42-17. So a lot of ones that are getting closer to mine. I think they're probably seeing the same thing where Air Force is forced to throw a lot. And then Alex was asking who that young man was with us. Who was that, Sam?
It was Alex Insko, and he's actually still here. Alex, if you want to come back on stage, you can say hi to your new Boise State fans that over on Instagram. We didn't get to their comments while you were on, but this is Alex Insko. He is the founder, right, of
Yes.
History of Air Force Football on Facebook. Alex, why don't you go ahead and tell them how they can find your socials and if they want to keep following you.
So if you guys do want to keep following me and learning more about the history of Air Force football, definitely follow us at History of Air Force Football on Facebook. We cover, the series history of each team. We try to get it out to, various Mountain West sites and, other, Colorado sites that, are aligned with the Falcons. And, we welcome Boise fans when obviously they're not playing for us, because as I like to say, we're Air Force fans on Saturday. We wear blue on Saturday, and we wear Denver Bronco orange on Sunday.
You can wear Boise State Bronco blue and orange on Saturdays that we don't play Air Force.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't know where you were going with that, but yes, sure. Especially now that we won't be in the same conference going forward after this year.
Right.
and Alex Lambert, she did say that she loves playing you guys, and I know Alex, and she's also a Denver Broncos fan. So
There we go.
I'm sure
We
she
have
really
something
digs
in
you now.
common.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but no, it was once again great being here. So thank you guys, and thanks for the comments out there. Always good to hear from the opposing fans because sometimes you can get overly confident when you are only hearing from your own team. So sometimes it's good to have that reality check.
Yep. I agree. All right. Thanks again, Alex, and we wish you well. And maybe we'll bust some chops after the Air Force game and bring you back on for a reaction show.
We'll see. Hopefully it's a good reaction. No, I'm just kidding. I would be
See how bad it is.
either
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, good guy. I can see why him and Jacob did a lot of stuff together. So he almost reminds me of Jacob in a way with his as a matter of fact speaking. So
Yeah, I think I remember actually seeing that one of those episodes with them on. So
yeah.
Well, we got a Bronco Nation update from Facebook.
Nice.
Former legend Khalil Shakir scored a touchdown. So
nice.
That'll be going up on our message board for Broncos in the NFL. So look for that, guys. That's on the BroncoNationUpdates.com website.
All right. So last week in the Mountain West football, we had a bunch of people that needed to win to help Boise State in their CFP hopes. Obviously, Boise State has to win out if they even want to be considered in that conversation. Another loss, and it gets really murky, and we need a lot more teams to lose. So the easiest thing to do is just win out. New Mexico, who no one had any idea was going to be as good as what they were against UCLA, or that UCLA was going to be as bad as what they were. All I could picture, all I could think when Nico was sitting on the sideline looking at his tablet was, I wonder if Sac State or Cal Poly are wanting to transfer, because it just ain't happening for him at UCLA right now. So he's probably checking out their football schedule to see if he could be any better of use there. But New Mexico did get the win, 35-10, which helps us out. Wyoming was hanging in with Utah there up till halftime, and then just fell apart in the second half. Utah ended up walking away with that one, 31-6. Nevada was the big disappointment, losing to Middle Tennessee, 14-13. I didn't get a chance to watch that one. We talked a little bit about Utah State and Air Force with Alex. That one was a fun, entertaining game to watch. Makes me look forward to a fun, entertaining game against Boise State this week. Utah State did end up winning that one, 49-30. Fresno State handled business against Southern, an FCS team, 56-7, and Hawaii also handled business against Portland State, another FCS team, 23-3. So the only team that really, two teams that really didn't do anything for us was Nevada and Wyoming. So maybe they'll turn it around and get something going for us this week. Do you have any Mountain West takeaways from last week, Nick, or are we good to go on into the cheer guide?
Yeah, I think that Nevada game that's a bad deal for the conference as a whole. And just like you were saying, I think Nico at UCLA is probably going to hit the transfer portal really quick.
I'm really surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't already, knowing how fast he left Tennessee.
Yeah, that program is a mess, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be involved with that. If I was a coach looking for somewhere to coach, no, they're like $200 million in the red.
Yeah.
So, they're going to want to get somebody who's got some thick skin and is willing to do a 5-year project, man. That place is a
mess. So this week, obviously, we got Boise State and Air Force. Boise State is a 10.5-point favorite. ESPN has them 82.9% chance to win. or winning 82.9% of the time, I should say. Obviously, Maddox Madsen's 532 yards. He has a QBR of 39.7. He's only taken 1 sack, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns. He's got 15 carries, 66 yards on the ground as well with 2 touchdowns. Chris Marshall, we talked about him. 6 receptions, 151 yards, a touchdown, 25.2 yards per reception. So he's our deep threat guy. Ben Ford really came on last game against Eastern Washington. We'll see if he can handle that against Air Force. He has got 7 receptions, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18 yards per reception. Dylan Riley and Sire Gaines are going to handle things in the backfield with Malik Sherrod getting in on the action. Riley really came on at the end of the game. Obviously, it was just in garbage time, but he still ripped that big one for his dad. On defense, Braxton Feelys leads the team in tackles and sacks, 8 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and Ty Benefield leaves in tackles with 15, 11 of which were solo tackles. So this Boise State Air Force game, it's going to be quite interesting. Air Force, on the other hand, they've got their dual threat wide receiver, 5 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown for Cade Harris. We talked about him with Alex. He's also got 15 carries, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He scored 20 points for the Falcons so far this year. He made mention they've only played Bucknell and Utah State, Bucknell being FCS, the equivalent to our Eastern Washington. But they did handle business with them 49-13, and they still put 30 points up against Utah State. So they're going to put up some points. It's going to be fun to watch and see how this game plays out. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I think Boise State's going to win it. They need to win it. If this ends up being a trap game for them, looking ahead to App State and then ahead even further to Notre Dame, it could spell the end of our season for Boise State. So
and Air Force would love to do that, from our history, like we were talking. It's going to be for those who are going to the game. It's going to be perfect, man. It should be about 70 degrees, maybe partly cloudy. It'll be a perfect at 5 o'clock. It'll be perfect evening for some football. If you're going to the game there, and like Alex said, go there and take part in all those festivities. Sounds like a great thing to do, and I like tradition like that. So if you're going to the game, do what Alex said and stay for the whole thing.
Yep. So moving on, UNLV plays Miami, Ohio this week. They play at Miami, Ohio. The Red Hawks, they are 0-2. UNLV should have a pretty good game with this. My graphic is a little off. I need someone to hire me a assistant and spell checker. Right now, Miami ranks at 127 on my Sam Talk Sports ranking, which will probably come out next week. I've just about got the formula dialed in, and I think one more week's going to make it perfect. So it's not perfect this week, so you don't get to see the whole thing. But UNLV is probably going to be another loss for the Red Hawks. They really don't have a whole lot going on for them this week. So UNLV, they've got their one win to they're 3-0, but their notable win is the UCLA. Obviously, that win's not looking as great as what it once did whenever they played them after UCLA lost to New Mexico. UNLV's ranked 49th total offense, 120 total defense. So defensively, they're not that great. The only reason they're going to be 4-0 is not because of how they're playing, but because of who they're playing. The fact that they're receiving votes in the AP and coaches poll, it just shows you that they don't really watch the games because UCLA is dog garbage. And it's UNLV is probably going to be undefeated up until Boise State. Sorry, Alex, but I don't think that Air Force is beating UNLV in Las Vegas. It could happen, but I don't think it's going to. But UNLV staying undefeated till they play Boise State, even if they still keep getting those votes and move up the ranks, we could be an undefeated UNLV coming to the blue, which will help our strength of schedule.
I'll say it. UCLA is dog shit. All right.
Yeah,
they are, man. $200 million in the red. They fired their coach. They're going to lose their starting quarterback. They're that's.
I will say this: they may not lose Nico, because he did say that one of the reasons he chose UCLA was to be closer to home, and that's why I said he's probably looking up Cal Poly and Sac State so he's still closer to home, but still be able to shine, because those programs are FCS lesser programs. So it is what it is. Moving on, we've got. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I was going to say, I still think that UNLV is going to be our main rival in conference. I do hear some belly aching, because they are, right now they are ranked higher than Boise State in the Mountain West, and rightfully so, I think. I mean, they're undefeated, even though maybe the teams that they've played are not a high caliber, but they are 3-0, and until somebody beats them, I do think that they should be on top of the conference right now.
And I do have in my Sam Talk Sports ranking, I do have UNLV ranked above Boise State as well, just because I factor in losses. A lot of the polls are, oh, well, they just lost here, which is why Notre Dame's still in the top 25, because they look at who they played and how they lost. If you lost, you lost. I mean, it doesn't matter who you played, you lost. You've already proven you can't beat that person, you lost. So now you have to earn your spot back. So, like you said, until UNLV gets knocked off, then yes, they're going to be ranked ahead of the people with losses. So, moving on, San Jose State, they absolutely can lose this week. Idaho is not a team to be relaxed on. San Jose State's 0-2 with losses against Central Michigan and Texas. Idaho, they are one of the FCS coming into perennial playoff teams and top 25s. It hasn't always been like that, but they have been steadily getting better at the FCS level. This is one that San Jose State can absolutely lose, and I really hope that they don't, because we don't need that kind of negativity for strength of schedule.
Yeah, that the Central Michigan, that opening loss didn't really help them. I thought they were going to win that game, but the Texas one that's not a shocker. But we need them to beat the Vandals.
Yep. That's the last thing we need is Idaho to almost knock off UNLV and then turn around and knock off San Jose State. San Jose State. Idaho's going to be a thorn on our side, whether we playing them or not. So, next game up, we've got Nevada and Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is 2-1 in the Conference USA. They've beaten Sam Houston, who's been a real disappointment for me this year. I really thought they were going to be a lot better than what they have shown so far. They also beat FCS North Alabama. And then, surprising to me, they took down Toledo. They lost to Toledo. I got to fix my thing because it looks like I'm – anyway. The fact that what was surprising to me was the fact that they lost by as much as they lost by. 23 points, 24 points. So I thought that game was going to be a lot closer than what it was. But Nevada, they are 1-2, and they're just about where I thought they'd be. I did not see them losing to Middle Tennessee. So that was a shock. They're my disappointment of the week. They need to turn it around against Western Kentucky, but I really don't see that one happening. But it needs to for strength of schedule. This is going to be Nevada's going to be the cupcake team of the Mountain West this year, I fear.
Yeah, they're becoming a little bit more disappointed. I do want to. I'm going to retract what I said in preseason when we were covering these, and I thought Nevada would beat Wyoming.
Yeah.
With the way that Nevada's playing right now, I don't see them beating Wyoming. I think Wyoming's going to be the better team.
Yeah, I had them their only win against New Mexico, but they may not even win that one. So
yeah.
It may be the toilet bowl between Nevada and San Jose State if San Jose State keeps up their lackluster performance. They may be 2 for teams playing to see who gets their only win of the season.
But for the sake of the conference, I hope these guys, turn it around.
Yeah. Utah State plays another FCS team in McNeese down in actually they're going to be playing in Logan. McNeese down in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's about 3 hours from where I'm working at right now. I'm in an undisclosed location in downtown Boise. I'm not in South Texas right now. So they should handle McNeese pretty well. I did watch them put up again. Sorry, Alex. I did watch them put up a bunch of points against Air Force. They put up 22 against Texas A&M and another 28 against UTEP, a game that I thought that they were going to lose with I can't remember his name, the Boise State transfer that went out to UTEP.
Mal Nelson.
Yes, Malachi.
Yep.
Nelson, yeah. I thought that Nelson was going to show up and really lead UTEP into a better season than what they're having right now. But Utah State's surprising people. If they can go and beat Vanderbilt, that's their Notre Dame. If they can go in and beat Vanderbilt, then we have a good shot of having a 1-loss Utah State and a 1-loss Boise State if we beat Notre Dame playing the final game of the season for Utah. So that should be a fun game to watch.
But, with the emergence of New Mexico, with the emergence of New Mexico, now that game's kind of, I'm really impressed with New Mexico. That game is not a gimme for Utah State down the road.
Yep. Colorado State plays UTSA. They are a underdog in this one, surprisingly. They're a 4.5-point dog. So let's see, and they're that's why it's because they're playing in Colorado. So Colorado has a Falcon Stadium North. They're playing at Falcon Stadium North, as Alex calls it. Colorado, I wonder why they have such a hard time winning at home. It doesn't make any sense. But they need to win this one. UTSA could catch fire in the American Athletic and still cause some troubles there. So if Colorado State can knock them off, then that's going to bode well for Boise State, especially since we play them late November. And if by that time, if UTSA has gone on a tear in the American, then our win over Colorado State, if Colorado State beats UTSA, that could be a good win for us. Late season good win.
Yeah,
then they can go, and then after we beat them, they can go and lose to Air Force.
Yeah, we need any head-to-head matchup with the AAC. We need to grab another one. We need to get one because we gave them one. Boise State did. So it's crucial that any head-to-head against AAC and Mountain West needs to take those.
Yep. And Wyoming travels to Boulder, another Colorado school. They will be playing the Colorado Buffs, and I don't know what's up with Coach Prime. He looks like he's disinterested now that his kids are gone. Like he doesn't want to be there. He'd rather be anywhere else. Um, and I hate to say this about the guy, but I almost think he's intentionally taking the Colorado Buffs season so he can show how well the Sanders boys and Travis Hunter were to help boost their uh, NFL prospects. And I know it's a terrible thing to say and it's a terrible thing to think, but you would think with the talent that Sanders has brought into Colorado, they would be doing more than 1-2, with their only win being to FBS newcomer Delaware. So, granted, Georgia Tech's coming on strong and Houston's okay, but still, they're playing very uninspired football right now, and you got to wonder if that's because he's trying to show, hey, these boys we lost, let them play at the next level because they're that good. Without them, we suck, basically. So I know it's a terrible thing to say, but it's there. They play Wyoming. I don't see Wyoming winning this one. On paper, they have a fighting chance for it. However, I think Colorado's going to win unless Wyoming puts together that perfect game, which could happen. And it'll give them a signature win on the year as well that might help boost their confidence and get them bowl eligible.
Yeah, I would hope that Prime, has that is a competitor and doesn't matter, who's there, that he's gonna do it. But I don't know. I kind of saw the same reaction, look of just kind of like he's over it. But yeah, so I'm rooting for Wyoming.
Yeah.
Give me that Big 12 win.
It's almost like he wants them to say, you know what, the Prime experiment's over with. Let's bring somebody else in. Yeah, he's just trying to look for that exit door. So maybe he should just
Dallas job.
Right. Maybe he should just schedule New Mexico next year and lose. That tends to work. Up next, we got San Diego and Cal. Cal's surprising this year, 3-0. Granted, they haven't really played anybody except for Minnesota, I guess, is okay. They beat Oregon State 34-16, then 36-3 against Texas Southern, an FCS opponent, and then they went to they stayed home against Minnesota 27-14. The bulk of their schedule is going to be coming up. Probably Duke will probably be their first test. Duke's kind of right there on the cusp of being something special in the ACC, but it's going to be fun to see Duke play this year, see how well they progress. But Cal and San Diego State on paper looks great defensively until you see who they played, Stony Brook and Washington State, and then they lost to Washington State. So the only reason they look good defensively is because of how dominant they were against Stony Brook, who is ranked just above the school for deaf, dumb, and blind kids. So take that as you will. I think Cal's going to run away with this one late. It's not going to be close. I think San Diego State's numbers are inflated based on who they played, not how they played.
Yeah, I think Cal's got a good team. They got Harse and Wilcox over there, and they nabbed that. He's either 4 or 5-star. Boise State was in the running for Jaron Kiwa Sagapulutele. Butchered it.
Oh man!
Anyway,
I had him in my players to watch. I'm like, yeah, I'm not spelling that out, and I think I took him off for someone with a name easier to spell.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of their games, and he's got a nice. He spins that ball. He's a lefty, but he's good, accurate. Wish it would have been cool if he would have picked Boise State.
Yeah. Oh no, I did have Jaron up there. I was thinking of someone else. Anyway,
No, you took it.
yeah.
You took the hard. You took the hard name to pronounce off. I could have done that.
Yeah, he's a freshman too. 6'3",
Yep.
225 pounds, 71 of 106, 780 yards through 3 games. That's not bad. 6 TDs, 1 interception. He's got his QBR set good enough for 72nd at 54. So as a freshman, he's going to be good if he stays at Cal, or unless somebody else comes knocking for him. So, Fresno State and Hawaii. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I missed this game, so I don't have a card for them. But Fresno State is a 2.5-point favorite over Hawaii. They're a 61.6 on the matchup predictor. Their quarterback, EJ Warner, is 71 and 98, 716 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So if Hawaii can do anything in the secondary, they got a chance to get some interceptions off of them. Luke Weaver is taking over quarterback for Hawaii. I'm not real sure when Alejado is going to be coming back off of his injury. Hopefully soon, because he's fun to watch. But Weaver has a 47.2 QBR, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 600 yards for the Warriors. So it's going to be a good quarterback battle. He's 61 of 102. I forgot to say that. Rushing, Donaldson for Fresno State's got 325 yards on 50 carries and 2 touchdowns. Sims for Hawaii has 154 yards and 39 carries. This looks like it's going to be a pass-heavy game for Hawaii, which what they're known for, and it looks like Fresno is going to try and get that more balanced. Fresno might actually do something good this year. They might be a dark horse for the Mountain West.
Yep, you got the battle of 3-1 teams. Yeah, I probably favor Fresno State. Hawaii's probably going to need that magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Hawaii has that magic, they could, but my gut's telling me that Fresno State will probably come up on top on that one.
Yeah. Another team that really needs a win this year is Notre Dame, or this week is Notre Dame. They play. Holy crap! I hit the wrong button. There we go. They play Purdue, so Purdue's probably coming in thinking, "Oh yeah, we've won 2 more games than you. We're gonna beat you," and then they're gonna get curb stomped. So Notre Dame should pick up their first win of the season Saturday afternoon. We really need them to be undefeated, or not undefeated, but have their only 2 losses by the time we play them. A win against Arkansas, who's coming on strong. Taylor Green for Boise State. Hell of a game against Ole Miss. His receiver fumbled that ball away as they were driving down to win the game. Heartbreaking way to lose, especially when your receiver's fighting for them extra yards to compete to get there. Really fun game to watch. So that game's not going to be a gimme for Notre Dame at all, especially being played in Arkansas. So if Notre Dame can pull off be 2-2 whenever they play us, and with us our only loss being to USF, it may not be a top 25 matchup, but it'll be pretty dang close. We may be receiving votes by then, maybe, maybe not. But I know a lot of people thought that was going to be a top 15 matchup by the time that game came around. I know I did. I thought we were going to be a top 20 at bare minimum. Now it's going to be like, well, are we even going to get votes? But Notre Dame over Arkansas and Notre Dame over Purdue this week is almost a must at this point.
It is, yeah. I'm hoping that when we go to South Bend, we've got a 2-2 Notre Dame versus a 3-1 Boise State, and then like I said, I'm open for that upset in South Bend.
Yep. And App State, they're 2-1, fresh off their loss to Southern Miss, 38-22. They do have a bye week this week before they come to the Blue, so that's a little disheartening, giving them an extra week to prepare for us. So Bronco Nation needs to make sure they come out next week, the 27th, and be loud. Let's get that false start counter. We need to break that thing this year. So many false starts that it breaks.
We'll be bringing the blue chaos for sure.
Yep. So, well, that does it for our cheer guide this week. Nick, you got any final thoughts on Air Force?
I think I'm in the boat of I need my opinion is I need Boise State to bring the style points.
Yeah.
From here on out. That's the only way I feel like that's going to give us just a razor's edge chance to get into the CFP with a lot of chaos going on with the other conferences. So
and we talked about
that's
it.
Why
we talked about it previewing the Eastern Washington game. Boise State needs to not just beat the spread; they need to blow out the spread, and let the voters know, hey, we are back to our dominant form. And unless they do that, then it just makes that road for us that much harder.
And that was one of the contributing factors into my, my score 48-20 is I think that would be, for a Boise State Air Force game, that would be enough style points for them. But that's not the only one that we need. We need it to be the rest of the season. We need to channel our our Dan Hawkins spirit.
I miss Hawk.
That's all I got.
All right.
Hey, I wanna shout out Alex again. Really, really grateful that he jumped on here, and it'd be cool if we can get him back on, and we might be able to do a collaboration for Mountain West review down the road. So really appreciate him. I appreciate you, Sam, for doing all that work with all the stats and all that you do for Bronco Nation. Real quick before we leave, how can Bronco Nation find you online?
So Sam Talks Sports on Facebook, sam.talks.sports on Instagram, Sam Talks _sports on X. I got to make a little card, hold it up with all of them. I do have a TikTok, but I haven't really done much with TikTok because I didn't know if it was going to be banned or not. Now that Oracle's taken over TikTok, I'll probably start getting some videos pushed out there sometime later on down the road. So I'll give that stuff out later on then. I do want to remind you, your rugby club is in action this week at Lincoln Turf Field against Montana State at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Air Force doesn't start until 5 Mountain Time. So, yeah, four whole hours to go enjoy some rugby and get your football-like fix before you actually watch the game. Get out there, support your club's teams. They have to pay to play, so your support means more than what the Bronco sports, the NCAA sanctioned sports mean. Them club sports, they pay to play. They don't get the recognition. They deserve the recognition. They work just as hard as the other team. So get out there and check them out. It's going to be a fun time. If I was in Boise, I'd be there. Unfortunately, I'm at an undisclosed location in South Texas, and I can't make it up there. So
And
yeah.
in Bronco Nation, we're set up to support any of these programs with our nonprofit blueelevation.org. Go there, give whatever you can, and we'll direct it to wherever you want it to go. You just, when you're checking out, make sure to leave a comment. There's a field there, and you can just type in wherever you want. Also, if you're a business out there, you want to get involved, through our platform here on Bronco Nation Updates and our nonprofit, we consistently reach about 2 million views a month. So we want to partner with you, get you on the Serving Bronco Nation directory. There's other directories out there, but we've proven over the last 3-4 years that that we can get those views for your small business, and whatever package you buy, we'll direct it to whatever program you want at Boise State. So it's a win-win, and then Bronco Nation will support those companies that support Boise State. So go to ServingBroncoNation.com, go to the /plans, and then pick whatever plan you want. We'll work with you. We'll do the advertising with you. Like I said, we're active on all these platforms, and we want to help your business. We want to advertise. This is all for Boise State. So as always, we want you to bring up your fandom, just like the fellas on the blue. They are trying to be championship caliber. Same thing goes with the fans. If you guys are in Colorado Springs at the game amongst the airmen, be loud with them. And then when we're back on the blue for App State, we're going to cause that chaos. But until next show, be well. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Hi, I'm Ron Dorn. I'm president of Blue Elevation. A lot of you have probably heard of it and other sites like Bronco Nation Updates, and I just want to talk a little bit about Boise State football and what we're trying to do to help move the team forward. It's a lot of fun to work with them, but as you know, with the upheaval in college football and the NIL money, we're always needing more, and we're trying to do that by giving more news to you than you can get in other sources, and events that you might be able to attend. And we would just love to see your support, additional support for Boise State, so we can take this to the next level, especially moving into the Pac-12. I see such a bright future for us by doing this. For those of you that are as old as I am, you remember when we had wooden bleachers and we did rodeos in the stadium, and we had good coaches, and we were doing the best we can with what we had. These coaches need that continuated support to make it happen for us. You can see what we've done with what little we've had, but we really need the help, and we just need the commitment, and we need you to get involved with us to push the Boise State program forward. Again, especially going to the Pac-12, and especially the futures out there, and what the basketball team is doing, the women's softball team is doing, and some other sports that I follow. We just want to keep you involved and focused and helping us out any way that you can do that to support our university.